Good morning, everyone. Councilman Rasmussen here with my update from our meeting last night, May 4th, for the Smyrna Town Council. First off, thank you again to everybody who came out and voted in the election. I certainly appreciated everyone's support, and I look forward to serving for at least 3 more years on the council as our at-large council person. So, obviously reach out if you've got any questions, comments, anything, and thanks for the support. So last night Tabby and I got to be sworn in again. That was how we started off our meeting, which is always a wonderful thing to do. The process there is nice, and there were some great pictures taken, one including the back of Councilman Brown's head, which I thought everyone got a good chuckle from. So thank you again, and we are officially sworn in and back to work. Updates from the different councils, committees, staff, things that were important, and then we'll get into a little bit of the items that were on the agenda from last night. So, number one, I've mentioned that the town is going to be implementing a new operation and financial management system called Munis. It's on track to be live July 1st. That's a big deal for us and for the town staff so that we can better access and utilize financial information in the work that we do. Not a big deal for, I think, your average person in the community, but what it means is that there is more and better information about how the town finances are budgeted and expended that we can all access and have better accountability in how those funds are utilized. So, new system, hopefully by July 1st. Oh, it didn't come up, but if you haven't had a chance to yet, the new town website is active. There are still final tweaks and little changes that are happening behind the scenes, but the new website is there. Hopefully you get a chance to go and check it out. Things are definitely a little bit easier to find. Organizationally, a lot of stuff is still grouped the same way, so where you looked for something before, you'll probably find it in a similar place. But from an operational standpoint, there's a lot more stuff on the back end that makes it a little bit easier to utilize. So check out the new town website. If you have feedback or anything, there's ways there to submit that and get it back to the town if you see something that's an error or anything like that. Couple of updates. One, First Friday, our first downtown First Friday music night is scheduled for tomorrow, the 6th. However, there is also rain scheduled, not by us, for tomorrow. So the decision was made to move this First Friday music event to the Citizens Hose Company. They are graciously allowing us to use the new banquet facility. That is where music will be this month. Hopefully we get better weather in months to come, and we can have these out on Main Street as we intended. But if you are interested in the First Friday music event, it has been moved to the Citizens Hose Company and the new banquet facility around the back of the building. Please come out, check out some great music. I don't know the gentleman who is performing. He was apparently on American Idol last year. So hope to see folks there tomorrow night, not out in the rain on Main Street. Another update, spring cleanup. Obviously, you've seen a lot of stuff out on the streets. People are certainly utilizing this service that the town is providing. Spring cleanup goes through this Friday. So if you have things that need to be picked up, make sure that you get them out today. Hopefully you've done that already, or tomorrow at the latest. That is when the spring cleanup stops. After that, it's up to you again to get your stuff either picked up by a private carrier or get it up to the transfer station yourself. So spring cleanup ends tomorrow. Make sure that you've got anything out that you need to get done. Couple of things that have come up that we received some updates on. One, there has been identified some issues with the spillway in the lake. This was discussed briefly at a previous meeting. We have finally some quotes together about what needs to be done. There's more work that will have to happen to figure out how it gets done and ultimately how it gets paid for, whether it's the town or some joint effort between the town and DelDOT. But roughly, we got estimates back. It's about $220,000 to make some repairs to the spillway so that it opens and closes accurately and we can utilize it in the case of any sort of flooding events. There's no risks or issues at the moment. This is more to make sure that it's able to continue to function going forward. Everything is fine right now, but some potential issues were identified that ultimately need to be addressed. So that'll come. Hopefully, it's the type of thing where we can partner with the state to utilize some of their funding as well as town funding to make the needed repairs there. We got an update about the Smyrna Master Parks plan process. So back on March 12th, if you were able to attend, March 12th, if you were able to attend, there was a community meeting that was held at the Citizens Hose Company to get feedback, and we all did an activity where we placed different pieces on a map to see exactly kind of how we might utilize the parks. It was a lot of fun, a lot of cool feedback. One of the things that was identified from that meeting, though, is that most of the people in that room were older. There were a few people who were probably, I don't know, in their 20s and 30s, but there certainly were no young people, folks that would be in our K-12 system that were there to participate and give their feedback. And so that was identified as a potential problem, seeing as young people tend to be the ones who utilize the parks the most. So an effort was made to actually do some outreach with the school district, go out to the middle school and the high school and do this same activity, where the students would have a chance to maneuver and place things on a map and talk about what it is that they'd really like to see in each one of the parks. So that was done in the middle school at the beginning of April, and was actually done in the high school. In the middle school, 150 or so kids participated, and in the high school, I believe it was something around 50 or 70 students participated in that event, which is really cool because that's great feedback for the whole process. That is going to be integrated with the information and the feedback that's been received from the survey and from the community event that happened back in March, where hopefully we've now assembled a lot of variety and interest areas in what people want to see in those parks, and it can help us create a master parks plan that ultimately meets the needs of this community, today, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Thank you, everybody who's participated in that. There will be more information about it that comes out, but it's really great to see the school district participate and so many young people come out and actually give their feedback from that. So thank you. The council received an update from our compensation committee. So this is a committee that the council embodies every once in a while to look at how council members, boards, committees, how our compensation is set up and structured. This has been done back in 2013, I guess was around the last time that this was embodied, so it's been 9 years. The compensation committee came back and gave their report, which basically said something along the lines of the compensation for council members and committee members and things has not been addressed or updated since the 1960s, as far as they could tell, when it was set that council members received $25 per meeting and there was no compensation for committee members or commission members. The recommendation that came from the compensation committee was to make some updates to that. Specifically, it was to update it to, instead of $25 per meeting, people would be compensated $60 per meeting. And that the council would have to go forward and establish some compensation, it was not defined as what, for commission and committee members. The idea here is this brings us more in line with what other communities do. It's certainly, I have to tell you, I was surprised when I joined council to find out that we got $25 per meeting. I figured it was a entirely pro bono thing. The idea behind some compensation is that it's that folks are taking some time and they are committing their own private resources to having these kind of events. I know from my end, when I found out that we got paid for it, what we did for my family is we decided we were going to donate that money. So this last year we donated all of it to the Boys and Girls Club. Because it's not something that we were anticipating, it's not part of our budget. But for some people, it may be a meaningful piece and that little bit that helps them maybe cover the babysitters that they need when they have to go and attend a meeting or something like that. I certainly know that struggle. So the council voted to accept the report from the compensation committee and asked our solicitor to draft an ordinance that would update the existing town code to put in place the recommendation. So that what that means is that we will see an ordinance probably at the next meeting that updates what the compensation will be, and then that will begin next fiscal year. So a little bit of a change there. It's not a ton of money from a budget, but the idea is that it makes it a little bit more meaningful, and ideally we can figure out a way to help compensate some of the folks who sit on our committees and commissions. Yeah, so that's that. So moving into the agenda items for the meeting last night, there were a few different things, actually a lot of conversation. We had a presentation about enrolling in DFIT. This is a municipal workers' comp insurance plan. There's, I believe, 28 different municipalities in the state of Delaware that participate in this. It's basically a private self-funded insurance policy for workers' compensation. A lot of conversation in a presentation. The idea here is that right now it's actually not a cost savings to the town to be enrolled with DFIT. Our current insurance is very slightly less, but DFIT provides potentially some other benefits in lots of training and things that can help offset potential workers' comp claims. That is something that the town already pays for. We bring in training, we send people out for training, there are services. So right now the idea is that there might be some additional benefits that outweigh the additional costs, and potential rate increases for our private that we have right now, workers' comp insurance. It has actually been substantially higher in the past. It's gone down recently, but the idea is that it will likely go back up. And the rates for DFIT have been relatively stable. So from year to year, it may actually be a cost savings with additional benefits. Council decided not to approve moving forward with DFIT yet because there were council members, including myself, who wanted some more information about DFIT, about what the other costs and the operations pieces associated with making the move to DFIT would be. In the end, it's insurance, right? It's something everybody shops for, nobody really wants, but we all shop for in order to try and save money or get better service. And I think the question from the council was rather, is the better service worth the money savings? And we wanted to talk a little bit, get a little bit more information from some other people who participate in this to see whether or not they really feel it's lived up to their expectations. So it'll come back another meeting, hopefully the next meeting, to discuss it again and possibly approve it. We had a proclamation. So this week, May 1st through May 7th, is Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Valerie Heritage is our professional municipal clerk. She was the state clerk of the year last year. Valerie is absolutely wonderful. For those of us who need to figure out, solve, answer any questions, Valerie is the one who really is our go-to person to help keep this council operating smoothly. So there was a proclamation that was read and some honors and thanks given to Valerie. And Valerie, thank you if you happen to watch these. So. Lastly, the major agenda item that had a bunch of discussion, there is a request from KRM. So KRM is the development company that owns Duck Creek Business Campus. This is the very large business campus that is going in just to the north of Duck Creek on the east side of Route 13. There's the big 70,000 square foot spec building there. There are a couple of other very large prospects for large portions of that will ultimately bring lots and lots of jobs here to this community. We're not allowed to speak about them just yet, but their approval process is underway for a few of these things. They applied for a $5 million grant to do a bunch of road improvements to Paddock Road and the intersection of Paddock Road and Route 13 that would allow them to continue some of their expansion plans for that up on the Paddock Road side of the property. For one reason or another, the state wanted some information from them that they were not able to provide, and they came to us to ask whether or not the town would apply for this grant and ultimately act as a pass-through for these funds to help support those road and intersection improvements. Council talked about this a lot. We're a little bit hesitant because we don't want to end up on the hook for any sort of funds or costs associated with getting a grant for a private business. On the other side, it is a significant improvement that ultimately can leverage more jobs, help that project move forward, which benefits the community in lots of different ways, increased tax revenue, increased commerce and traffic to businesses. There's a lot of pluses to seeing the Duck Creek Business Campus built out as quickly as possible. So what we decided was that the town was willing to go forward with the grant application under our name with some assurances and understandings from KRM that, one, the town would be held whole for any effort that we have to put into in order to allocate these funds. And ultimately, we have the ability to sign off on accepting the funds based on KRM meeting our expectations from the town to make sure that we're not left holding the bag for legal fees or anything like that. So we're moving forward with it. It's a very, very tight timeline. They need it by Monday. We wish we would have had a little bit longer to consider this. So that will move forward in the end, hopefully, the state grant. So it's a TIF and site readiness grant. Ideally, they get some funding, KRM moves forward with this process, and the town's really only role is to act as a pass-through for these funds once that work is complete. So those are the big items from the meeting. Nothing that was too earth-shattering. A lot of conversation about sort of inner workings about what should and shouldn't the town do around insurance and grants. A good meeting though, and like I said, our first meeting for Tabby and I as our newly re-elected members. So remember, today, tomorrow, last days for you to be able to put out anything for the spring cleanup. So if you've got something that you've been meaning to get out on the street, drag it out there right now. And if you are planning on coming to First Friday downtown, rain is causing that to be moved to the Citizens Hose Company and the new banquet facility. If you've not been in there, check it out. And hopefully we'll see you there. And then ideally, months to come, we'll be back out on Main Street with the weather cooperating with us. We've already scheduled good weather for those dates. We'll see if that holds. That's all I've got for you today. Obviously, please reach out if you've got any questions or comments. Happy to help however I can. And happy Cinco de Mayo. Yay, tacos.